I think this academy split is going to go really well.
I'm basically adopting the philosophy of our team, TSM.
Our goal is to be #1.
It's excellence. We're going to win all of our games. We're going to be #1.
And we're getting better every day.
I really don't care what team we're playing against. TSM, we're going to beat all of them.
I'm really excited to just play.
Show people that I'm a really good player.
Really work on my leadership skills and learn a lot by playing under Jensen.
I'm excited to just prove myself.
They're hungry to learn, and that's what I'm most happy about.
I'm really confident in my ability to be able to learn and improve.
I'm a fast learner, and with time, I can be the best academy mid. We're probably just going to stomp everybody.
Hello, League fans, and welcome to the 2018 North American Academy League. I'm Irving DeBisman III, and joining me for tonight's premiere broadcast is Mark Zimmerman. Mark, this is basically your desk for the Academy League. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I like how you're introducing me, but I'm going to be more of a mainstay.
Absolutely. Play-by-plays will be switching out a little bit, but you'll see Mark quite a bit here on the Academy desk. And for those of you not already in the know, the NALCS has removed the promotion relegation system in favor of partnership with 10 permanent teams. As a result, we've retired the Challenger Series, and every LCS team now has a developmental roster in the Academy League.
And this is something I'm very excited about because previously, Challenger had the focus of getting into the LCS as a team. This is much more focused on the individual and improving North American talent. There's a max of 3 veterans allowed on a team. There's only 1 import slot.
Yep.
So you have to really focus on, improving your local talent as opposed to just making the best team you can to try and get into LCS.
And while being able to somewhat play against the upper LCS team, you are an Academy team too. You're also playing in that same format.
Right, so it's going to basically be the exact same format that you have in the LCS. So if you ever do get subbed up, it's something you're very comfortable with, playing against 2 opponents a week, best of 1, those kinds of things.
And Thursdays, as you may have known, some offline games, but Friday, today, as we get to these days, it's going to be live, and the pressure is going to be on for these players.
Yeah, make sure you perform on Fridays, because the Thursday game is going to have less viewership, but make sure you just step up Fridays.
Absolutely. So we are going to get into a quick recap of those off-air games in just a moment, but what teams and players are you looking forward to here in the Academy League? Mark?
One person I'm excited about is Palafox, just because he was someone who has been high-rated in Challenger, someone that hadn't really been on Academy teams or Challenger teams previously, goes to scouting grounds. People start noticing him. He was the last pick there in the draft for scouting grounds, and then people were impressed. Clutch Gaming drafts him for their own team, ends up now on Optic, I believe, and is just someone who no one would have given a chance to if they weren't in this new format. So he is basically the case study of how we want player development to start looking in the future.
Absolutely. Caught a little bit of my eye as well with that Azir play, as we were talking about during the scouting grounds. I'm definitely looking at Lost. A super fun AD carry to watch. We saw him yesterday going really hard on a quadra kill as he went over the Baron pit with a flash by himself. So I think we might have some crazy stuff for this. And I think we're both on the same page with 100 Thieves being someone to watch.
Right, absolutely. I mean, they have Levi signed, and this is another example of how you can use the Academy teams. Let him learn the North American, culture a little bit more. Let him learn English better. Let him level up those level of things. So when he does play, hopefully in the LCS soon, he's better adapted, and that's very interesting. And even without him, he wasn't available for yesterday's games. They still smashed. So the rest of the 100 Thieves roster is nothing to, turn away from.
It is pretty crazy. Hopefully he can hold up to the hype once he does get back. So we did get our first look at some of the teams yesterday during the off-air games, and it had some interesting developments. In the first game of the day, Optic ended up having to sub in 2 LCS starters in Acadian elimination. The game started okay for Optic Academy, but ultimately TL pulled ahead for the win.
Yeah, a lot of topside focus there. Aurelia and Tanar kind of got that one snowballing, but the rest of the map wasn't going in their favor. Elimination goes down, and you can imagine that they probably did not have too much practice with the rest of the Academy team, as they're going to be starting for the LCS as well. A rough day for Elimination. Got caught out, bounced around a lot. Tristana before, they're groggy.
Yeah, lots of fights all over the map as we see these teams kind of develop and find their synergy. Later in the day, the Golden Guardians Academy squad took a surprisingly strong lead over C9 Academy, but the games went a little south after a few botched team fights.
Absolutely, they're playing a little bit less of a scaling team. They have Callista trying to brute force these engages. You want to be able to pick off a lot of people, and while they did have a big lead, they couldn't actually effectively snowball it. Here you see Zazel able to block that ram engage. He's going to kind of give his life up so the rest of the team can get out. They end up finishing off. You see C9, Singe running away from the top lane. Shiro there, barely getting out, buying time so that they can turn things around later in the game like this. They find a good engage on the rest of Golden Guardians Academy. And things go south once you have a Tristana who's online, Nazir who's online.
Yeah.
They're able to pick these guys apart.
A lot of these late game dog piles as the teams kind of muddle about towards that mid game. As we said, the development here is going to come out. Who's going to be the first shot caller, and then we'll see them taking the lead behind him.
Yeah, this is one of those areas that you expect to see some of the academy teams struggling with. Those late game, how exactly do you close it out? And they clearly struggled a little bit there.
Absolutely. So as we head into today's games, let's check out the current standings. The academy teams of TL, FlyQuest, 100 Thieves, Cloud9, and Echo Fox all start day 2 with a win. Sounds pretty good, but everyone gets another chance to get on the board, so let's check out what's in store for today. We start with TLA taking on TSM Academy before 100 Thieves gets a shot at the LCS subs on Optic. Then Clutch Gaming and Golden Guardians Academy will face off ahead of Echo Fox and FlyQuest, and we'll close out the day with CLG Academy and Cloud9 Academy, respectively.
Yeah, and there you can see it pretty much mirrors the schedule for tomorrow, so you get to see what the academy teams have in store, and maybe you can start basing some things off that will happen tomorrow.
I can't wait. Make all your predictions. They're all going to be right this year, right?
Yeah, they're all going to be based off what happens on Fridays.
Just a little bit of each. I like
yeah.
that. I like that. You heard it here. So that brings us to our first matchup with Team Liquid Academy facing off against TSM Academy. And since you guys are probably a little unfamiliar with these teams, let's start by introducing the players. Starting on the blue side is Team Liquid Academy. That means starting in the top lane is going to be Viper, jungling hard, Mickey holding down the mid lane. At bot lane, it's Shoryu and support Joey.
And over on the red side, playing for TSM Academy in the top lane, it's going to be Brandini. Pretty well-known figure for a lot of people. In the jungle, Grig as well. In the mid lane, Ablaze Olive. Bot lane, Mr. Rales, supported by Shady.
Actually pretty cool to see Raleigh finally like in the mix. We'll always see him on stage after the TSM stuff, so we'll see what he can actually get his hands into this game. A few new professional players to League of Legends, but honestly a lot of familiar names on both teams that we're seeing here.
Yeah, this is one of both these teams have a lot of players. On the side of Team Liquid Academy, you have Mickey and Hard coming in as people that you have seen in the LCS before. Mickey was known for joining Team Liquid last year. He got the start, tried to turn around that team that was struggling a lot, not quite able to do so, and he's really looking to rebuild his reputation here in North America, known in LCK as a little bit of an inconsistent player, and hopefully he's looking to smash this scene. Hard was formerly a jungler for Echo Fox, and he took a year off from professional play, obviously still played the game, but was not on any challenger
How can you
team.
not?
Yeah, how can you not play League? But he's still very much informed, so he's the jungler for Team Liquid Academy, and then you might recognize some of the other people if you follow LCS very closely. Joey was the emergency substitute last year when Aframu was forced over to play AD carry for the first time in forever. Joey stepped up. Didn't quite work out for them, but now he's got another shot here with Team Liquid Academy.
A little bit better yesterday. Didn't die, so that's nice.
Yeah,
got
obviously.
that going for him.
He's not just that. Don't jump entirely based off that LCS game. And then the final two people to round them out, Viper and Shoryu coming straight out of solo queue. Both these guys qualified for the scouting grounds, could have gone there, but declined the invitation, feeling confident that they were already well scouted.
And that being the side of TLA. Now on the side of TSM Academy, we do have TSM Scouting Grounds draft pick Ablaze Love alongside 4 LCS veterans, which kind of has to feel pretty good.
Right. I mean, TSM has Brandini and Griddick, who we were just talking about, having made stage appearances with Echo Fox previously when they were subbing out a lot of people. They also have Phoenix One support in Shady, who was playing the 3rd, 4th place match in spring, so he has a lot of experience. Mr. Rales has been seemingly on TSM for what feels like forever, but never really got into a game. Now finally going to be starting for the Academy team, and he's been in the scene a really long time. Has been on 17 teams since 2012.
He's got the playbook. Now he just has to use that stack of sheets.
He's been in a lot of situations compared to most of these guys.
Figure out which ones are going to work now in the Academy League. So tough competition for these teams, but Shady is coming into this matchup with confidence.
I know a few of the guys from Collegiate, and gonna crush them just like I would if I was still in Collegiate whenever I was at RMU. And the other LCS players, I mean, they're not on LCS anymore. They're on Academy now, so I doubt they're very good.
A lot of strong talk, a lot of, even in the intro, crushing. We're going to crush this, we're going to crush that. But he definitely feels very confident about the upcoming games.
Very confident. Started their season with a loss yesterday, so maybe not going 100% according to plan quite yet, but they're going to try and turn things around here. But like we said, very tough roster in Team Liquid Academy. Some of these other rosters, as we'll get into later in the day, have a lot more focus on newer players and developing them. And some of these guys are more looking at substitute options because you never know what's going to happen over the course of a season.
All right, well, we in picks and bans now as we start off the North American Academy League for 2018. and we will see what TL Academy has for TSM Academy. Remember, there were some offline games today, and now we'll get these online ones for Friday.
Yeah, and there's been a fair amount of games played on 8.1 across the globe, but this is the first time in North America we get a look at it on broadcast. So hopefully we'll be able to give you guys some insight on what has slowly become the meta. Kog'Maw, very strong AD carry. Ornn in the top lane.
Yep.
There's the mid lane picks. Zoe and Azir are two people that no one wants to play with. Ezreal, also very strong. Camille in the top lane is seen as kind of the premier carry available up there right now, and there are a fair amount that people are playing. So we'll have to see if they kind of play to that style.
Already get that Ornn out. I believe 100% win rate for him in yesterday's offline games. People are figuring out that that's not something you want to put your top laner up against, or even we've seen him at support in other leagues.
Yeah, it's kind of positioned right now in support where a lot of strange things have shown up. Yeah. We've seen Alawi at some of the Chinese games in the Demacia Cup, I believe. And it's the kind of thing where you're like, is this really the meta we're heading towards right now?
Is this happening? There's the Zoe ban, as you were talking about before. Ryze getting taken out actually by TLA. Mickey used that to great effect yesterday as a Blaze Olive was also on that champion. And we'll have a final ban here from TSM Academy to see what TL Academy is focused on.
Right. Mickey on Ryze makes a lot of sense. It's a champion that has a lot of individual playmaking and can also combo well with your team. Mickey kind of seen as the most experienced, best player on Team Liquid Academy, and he demonstrated that already, so take that away from him.
A lot of this Tom Kench play as well, being next to that Kog'Maw, next to a Vayne even. If you don't have more shields, he gets taken out. And Azir has also been a nice fallback for a lot of the mid laners here in the Academy League.
Yeah, it's generally seen across the world as one of the best picks in the mid lane right now. It doesn't have terrible matchups, has a couple it can kind of struggle with, but then it still has that insane scaling. Works well with the new rune system, so a lot of people are very happy if they can grab the Azir pick. And like I said, Ezreal combos very well with Azir. It sets up a very long-range team comp, so TSM Academy is going to lock that one in.
I'm already seeing TSM Academy's games yesterday with a bunch of refillable potions and biscuits. Now they're going to have 2 Klepto. These guys are like resource bound for each game so far.
They love that inspiration tree.
So Sejuani being picked up, and Riven locked in on the other side as that Blaze Olive pick is live for him. So TL Academy gets those 2 fast.
Yeah, I mean, Viper was known for being a kind of a Riven one-trick, I think is how he got his start. And on his first broadcast on the Academy League, he's going to pick a signature champ and kind of show what he's got.
Going to go hard, going to go strong. I mean, he sees the Gangplank up there, so if he does go in that level 1, he can dominate the lane. And we do see a Malzahar getting picked up against that Azir in the mid lane.
Right, that's what I was saying is one of those picks that it can do well into the Azir. You can get a lot of gank setup, try and hold him down, stop Azir from getting to that late game. A lot of good setup, as well as being able to deal with the push relatively easily because you don't have to stay up there the whole time. You can drop Voidlings and the Malefic Visions, and it's not so bad. But the Riven versus GP is something I feel like we're going to talk a lot about over the course of this game.
I was just going to ask you, do we already have a primary focus? Are we going to see hard up top with Viper more than not?
Yeah, I mean, GP is a champion that's known to be especially susceptible to top lane ganks early on. He's looking to, like you said, take Kleptomancy, farm it out, generate a ton of gold, and become a beast in the late game.
Be happy with that.
Yeah, Riven's going to try and exploit that momentary weakness in the early game.
So the ADs, once again, get a little hit. There is the Callista and a jungler, as that was foregone by TSM Academy here in the first 3 picks in the first phase.
Yep, not too much of a surprise. Kind of continuing the meta from what we last saw at Worlds and things like that. J4 and Sejuani tend to make up the 2 most meta champions that you can take in the jungle position. TLA grabs Sejuani, deny the other one, and hopefully you generate an advantage there.
See what they do decide. Grig actually was pressured pretty hard yesterday in their game, a reason why TSM Academy was falling a bit behind. So maybe rounding out the team, giving something that he can then support the rest of them with as they go through. Janna and Zach picked up as why not pinch Grig out if he hasn't already picked it.
Yeah, I mean, Zach was something we saw a lot of that other people were playing, and it kind of forces you into the more aggressive junglers where you start seeing things more like Kha'Zix. And if Grig is struggling right now to get his footing, if you put him on one of these more volatile jungle champions, if he's going to fall behind, it can be really tough to play them from that position.
A little bit of tower destruction here picked up by TL Academy if they do need to start moving forward with an advantage. We're going to have a Riven split pushing on the side lane if she gets big. It would be quite nice to have that acceleration in another lane. Looks like it'll just be Taric first. Still need that AD carry in this round.
Yep, Taric is one of the champions you see live in the bot lane. It is much more focused on Relic Shield champions, so you see a lot of Braum, Tom Kench, which is already banned out.
Relic bot
Taric
lane.
Here, yeah.
So fun.
Alistars, get used to seeing a lot of beefy guys down the bot lane. Taric is locked in. A lot of team fight potential with him, and decent laning phase. Works well with the overheal and things like that because he can provide that. That's great, and of course they're going to bring in Tristana as well, like you're saying.
So now TSM Academy wondering how do we work around the Cosmic Radiance, at least towards the late game if we're not in the lead. What's another pick that could help us do that and round out the team? You said it's going to have to be aggressive once he's pushed this far back. The Kazakh's being covered now for Grig and locked in.
And that is going to round out the team comp. They have a lot of burst potential, which can be nice if you're trying to pick people off before Terra can get that big team fight all down. Malzahar and Kazakhs can combo together to be a bit of a nightmare for enemy mid laners. So we'll have to see if they can target that Azir, stop the scaling. And of course, like we already said, Team Liquid Academy, you got a Riven in the top lane versus GP. There's going to be a little bit of focus up there.
Does this also cause focus for Brandini and Grig? Is that something you go after to say, we won't let that Riven get too big? Or do you say, yeah, I'm Klepto, play it back, we'll make sure Mickey and other people don't get big?
It's the kind of thing where you're fine down being 20 CS because come 30-minute team fights, a GP will outperform a Riven.
Right.
But at some point, Grig will probably have to make his way up there to stop those dives from coming in because they will come multiple times to the top lane.
I'll give a bit of the hover factor towards the top side, but make sure the rest of the map feels good about their lanes. We're going to see what goes on here between TL Academy and TSM Academy. A little morale preview, if you will, of what might happen tomorrow in the NALCS. Who could win and bolster their upper brother team. We are going to be in and on to the Rift, and we'll see how everybody starts this one off.
First game of the Academy League. Excited to see how this all goes. And I actually like that Mr. Rawless ended up on this Ezreal pick as well. I think what a lot of people would say is the signature champion or signature player for TSM Academy, Mr. Rawless, getting the best, arguably, AD carry in the meta right now. And Mickey, the primary focus for Team Liquid Academy, getting Azir, kind of the other OP mid laner. So it's very fun to see that both teams kind of got to their strengths.
Broken Wings, just a little clip there as Viper takes some damage. He gets out nice and easy. And it looks like the line of scrimmage stands very safe for both teams here. Nobody's going to try to get too hard of an invade, even for the wards, to start things off. There's the refillable potions again for TSM to start things off. That looks pretty normal on the side of Team Liquid Academy.
Yeah, and the thing that you always do nowadays is count those stopwatches.
Oh,
I think we got 7 here, if I can see that correctly.
all the time. Yep, a little minion dematerializer there for Blaze Love. Or Olive, rather.
A Blaze Olive.
A Blaze. Well, I love olives, so it might happen a few times.
Your favorite player now in this
You gotta
series.
put them on each finger. It's a good food, fun. And hopefully his play also is fun here. Malzahar, not too explosive. We'll have to see if he does get the flash plays in as we are off and running here on your Friday for 2018 NA Academy League. And it starts off, both teams trying to get a little bit of aggression to start off the laning phase so you can have a bit of advantage.
Blaze Olive was a guy who received a ton of hype in the scouting grounds, didn't actually perform super well, and he was the first overall pick of the scouting grounds draft before later going, I think, something like 5th overall to TSM in the actual draft. So he is someone who, despite only having a little bit of time in the Challenger Series, is fairly well known in the community and a very respected player here. And going to get tested early on versus Mickey, of LCK veteran.
Just going to say that you can see that veteran prowess pushing the lane in already a very early too, as Blaze Olive wasn't even able to get those minions down. And Shoryu and Joey trying to get their lane pushed up as well. Level 2s in the bot lane. Pretty equal, so no damage there.
You see already a Blaze Olive having to deal with what happens when you kind of lose this push to his ear. He can harass you into the turret relatively safely. That's why it's tough for Malzahar for a little bit, because he does usually have to wait until he can get that ultimate unlocked. Right. He becomes this huge threat to flash ult you and pin you down, combo with the jungler. And until that point, it can be a little less threatening.
A little dazzle trade on the bot side as Shady still trying to get that brush control. He pays for it with a bit of his health here. A small wave stacking up for Shoryu and Joey in the bottom, but doesn't look like he'll be able to do too much with it.
No, not quite yet. So far, TLA has had the advantage of pushing lanes in the bot and mid lane. Top also going in their favor a little bit. But not too much action just yet.
What do we expect to kind of see here? If you know you have that Riven top, if you know you have Mickey that's going to be winning mid, what is TSM Academy's kind of idea of that early game after they farm up Ezreal and Gangplank?
I mean, people always talk about how difficult it is to play with a bunch of lanes that are losing in the push. It's hard for a jungler to get on the other side of the river. You usually have to worry about more vision control. And with Grig pushed onto this Kazakhs, his primary focus should be trying to assist one of the lanes, get them out from underneath this kind of pressure that they have right now. And so if he can turn a gank in the mid lane, even if you don't get the kill, if you can force the flash out, Mickey can no longer be shoved up all the way to the turret, harassing the Malzahar under there. So you want to find a way to influence one of these matchups, not necessarily get a kill, but to buy your team some space to start winning the pushes themselves.
Few minions dematerialized here for Ablaze Olive. He can start pushing slightly better as top lane gets ganked here. Brandini pushed up a little too far. Flash still held here as he sees Greg coming around the right side. If he can make it up towards the brush, maybe deny some vision, but the power of Greg already coming into lane is enough to thwart that gank.
And well played by Brandini there, doesn't lose any summoners. Yeah. Eats the gank. Now Viper getting a little bit caught out.
Okay for himself holds his flash as well, and a little back and forth in the top lane as both junglers now on the map. We'll see if this adds a little flavor to the bottom side or mid.
And exactly what you were saying in Champs, like one of the options Greg has is not necessarily to win the gank in the top side, but hover around there. So if that gank does come, you can make sure it doesn't turn out too bad. Brandini knew he had the backup, didn't panic, didn't flash, waited for him to show up, and then they're actually able to turn that and kind of win that HP trade.
Shady just flexing. Gets Unbreakable up and doing a nice job. Knows they had a bit of the minion wave in their favor and uses that to possibly get the back there. They are recalling. We'll see what they come back to lane with. A lot of movement on the side of TSM Academy. If you look at the map, it looks like they're going to refresh themselves and head back for, like you said, that long laning phase. Mickey with a lot of roaming in their game yesterday, but without being on the rise, I think he's kind of just going to be happy pushing into Blaze Olive and keeping that lane to himself.
Yeah, a little bit more selfish playstyle, so to speak, where he's going to be more focused on his own lane this time around. A lot harder for Azir to get involved.
Ooh.
But plenty annoying in his own right. He's trying to keep the Malzahar pinned down.
Kind of just defeats your purpose of being, I can farm in Malefic Visions and push you up. It's a position you don't even want to be in. Can't even get the wards out on either side here. Knows there's jungle presence to the bottom, so that keeps him somewhat safe, but still very dark in terms of fog of war for TSM Academy towards that mid lane.
And there you see one of the new runes, the zombie ward. It's a very interesting mastery. Rune. I saw a stat that was talking about some LCK games where there was something like 3,000 something wards that were placed, and about, whoa!
5-finger Fumblerooski.
That's a weird one, because I don't even know why, like, your finger shouldn't even be down on that row, you know? Like, you shouldn't be on D or F at all. Not quite sure how you get that input. That's tough, though, because we were talking about how important it is for Malzahar at 6 to kind of get that flash engaged down. You just took a 5-minute window out of your potential power plays here. That's a bit of a disaster for TSM Academy.
I mean, and look at the movement it already gives Team Liquid Academy. They move in, oh, we can clear these wards. There's no mid-gank threat at all, and it just opens up so much immediately.
Yeah, it's actually one of those things where you think, oh, I just lost my flash, no big deal, I'll be fine. But in competitive
You'd
game,
like to say that to yourself.
Yeah, you say that to yourself. You say it in solo queue, but in a competitive game where you are drafted as the counter pick, as a potential power point on the map, that is a big loss.
Right in front of Mickey, too. So it's not even like there's
you're not in base.
A guess about it. Oh, man. So Mickey's going to come back, know they can go hard, probably call even a level 5, almost 6 hard down. He is kind of power farming on the bottom side here to get that for himself. And things could have gotten a little scary. The back coming in from Ablaze Olive, and we'll see how he can hold down that mid lane. Long swords for Viper as he keeps returning to lane. He knows there's really just kill potential, possibility if Brandini messes up, and that's what he's looking for.
Yep, and with the fact that there's now no flash mid, like you're saying, it's very easy for an Azir to break off that spell shield from Malzahar to set up that gank. So now Hard suddenly has what should be a very difficult to gank lane, suddenly becomes much easier. A bit scary now that he has 2 very good options to go for in top and mid lane.
Blue buff transfer over as Greg starts to hover down towards the bottom side. He wants to kind of protect the Blaze Olive here. Nice try.
Yeah, not bad.
Slightly a blind hit. They have a small ward, zombie just above.
Yeah, to get back to my point real quick about those zombie wards. Yeah, there's 3,000 something wards placed in the week 1 of LCK, and you can do you can account for almost all of them as green wards through trinkets, trackers, and sight stones, these kinds of things. But you end up with about 800-ish wards left over, which means that about 20% of the wards could have been zombie wards. There's a couple other ways you can get these kind of wards down, but it's a shockingly high number for how much extra vision can come in through these zombie wards. I wish I had the specific numbers. I didn't copy the tweet down directly, but it was very surprising to hear that the number got up that high.
We'll see how many zombie wards can be raised this year.
Zombie army.
Might just be an epidemic. Whoa! Got that stopwatch down. Does he buy enough time for himself? A few more attacks. First blood! Coming in for Mickey as he keeps going strong in the mid lane. Greg just short on the retribution kill, but still gets it for a Blaze Olive.
Mickey decides doesn't need hard at all, goes for the solo kill himself. A nice stopwatch to keep himself from getting a Zersec back away from the turret, buys enough time for Greg to get the cleanup kill. And you get to see a little bit there why stopwatch is so highly valued these days by almost everyone in the game. It can be thought of as almost like a third summoner spell. You know, it has a really long cooldown the entire game, basically, but it can turn around situations like that and keep them from being just solo kills or dives.
We'll see this here one more time. A Blaze Olive remembering he had that stopwatch. Keep himself alive for just a moment. Actually, a good trade, being down all lane and getting an assist out of this. Doesn't hurt.
No blue buff. He's able to try to ult Mickey to stop the Azirsec. Does kind of throw off the timing enough so that way with the Malzahar suppression ends, he can do his stopwatch to stop the Azirsec. Grig not quite able to get there in time, but it does show the defensive capabilities of a stopwatch that they were almost able to turn that one around completely.
Also gets Greg pushed down to this Kha'Zix, a kill from that mid lane, possibly spreading that around, giving a little bit of love to the rest of the solo lanes. Brandini doing pretty well for himself, 86 to 82, so really no reason to really bring attention up there at this point.
It's not going exactly how you would want as a Team Liquid Academy fan. You want that Riven to get much more of a snowball going, and Brandini's going to be doing a great job farming up. Probably has a big gold lead just off the fact that you get that Kleptomancy there. You're going to see about 500 gold difference just off his own Q passive and things.
Oh, hello.
Mid lane.
Blaze Olive getting hit. Flash just coming back up for himself, not able to use it. And he goes down once he gets back to lane. Grig, however, able to come back into lane once again. A double kill, however, goes to a Blaze Olive from the grave.
That's what's the best about Malzahar. It doesn't matter if you die first, just drop your dots, your damage over times, and watch those kills come in.
Just taking a very interesting turn, a 2-2-0 lane now to a 2-2-1 of instant back-to-back ganks coming from both junglers. Hard and Mickey go down in that. We'll see it again in a second. But this opens up the Windrake. Going over Cloud now for TSM Academy.
Yep, jungler goes down on the side of Team Liquid Academy. That feels pretty safe to go and start off this Cloud Drake. Going to be able to utilize that, get that move speed going, help move around, hopefully catch that Riven in the late game when she goes full split push mode. And a pretty crazy skirmish in the mid lane to kick all that off.
We'll see it here again. So Mickey already went hard. It looks like a Blaze Olive just wanted to ward, but got more and liked it.
Yeah, he had no spell shield up, made it very easy for Hard to engage on him, but Mickey goes a little deep under the turret, makes him pretty susceptible to the turret shots and GP ult that comes down, and Griggs also there playing cleanup. Surprising how quickly they dropped from all that.
It is a great point. Brandini picking up a little bit out of that as well for having a kind of laid back lane. It must feel good to just get a little bit of extra food on the table for himself. Now about a 2,000 gold lead coming in for TSM Academy. A good start from what was a loss yesterday and kind of not having a mid, not having that top lane go well for them. Well, they start off with some kills that could make potential for Blaze Olive.
Definitely you're kind of seeing as they try and get aggressive on Mr. Raleigh, not quite able to find anything. You're seeing how the win conditions are already kind of warping for both teams. The Riven pick is not completely online. It will have pressure on the GP for a substantial amount of time. It's not like the GP suddenly starts easily winning these 1v1s, but as the 5v5 start happening more often, GP is much more powerful in those situations. And the fact that he's not been held down at all, he's farming away just fine. Looks like he's in for a monster game.
Already has his ninja toppies. Care a little bit less about that damage Riven or Viper can put through on this Riven pick. As his Death Dance is ready. We'll see what they decide to do on the bottom side of the map. A little bit of a push in from Mr. Raleigh and Shady. We haven't seen too much action from that bot lane after the early game. A little Shurima shuffle from Mickey, and he gets stopped. Kind of slapped in the back of the bird head there. With Malefic Visions and some null.
Blaze Olive saying, get off me, once he misses that. Greg gets a lot of damage back. Gonna get control of the lane now with that. Both people down ultimates though, so both them losing a fair bit of kill threat.
Ooh. Bastion down, but everything in defense here for the bot side. Good damage and lane control going on to Joey here. almost going down for his first death of the Academy League. TSM Academy in that bot lane is starting to gain a bit more control.
Yep, able to get that heal out for basically nothing, just a trade of ultimates as well. Meanwhile, with that pressure from the mid lane, TSM's jungle mid duo went up and stole the blue buff away from TLA Academy. So slowly, all over the map, TSM starting to get these small advantages.
Drake is already theirs. Rift Herald might be a thing, but might even open them up to Team Liquid Academy having a way back into that gold lead that TSM Academy has currently.
Yeah,
all summoners up in that mid lane now.
Something you definitely want to be scared of, putting yourself in a pit versus the Riven.
This is very true.
Yeah, GP doesn't have the easiest time getting over the wall. So we'll see if TSM goes for the Rift Herald, or maybe they win another skirmish in the mid lane. Feel a little safer to go for it. It is a situation where now that that flash is back up, Mickey still does not have a QSS. Sometimes you do see opponents really prioritize that in the mid lane here, going to finish that Nashor's Tooth. So saying he feels pretty confident in the matchup, not particularly scared, but with that flash available now, he does have to start playing a little back. Playing the correct side there, he has vision on the left side, knows that's safe, runs up there to avoid the potential of Grig. And you see the spooky ghost coming out from the Frost Queen's claim, a pretty popular item in the mid lane.
I believe Grig was seen a little bit. He knew Hard was down here, as you're saying. Spooky Ghost trailed down, one trailed up to take on Mickey. And now Grig is obviously seen here as they start denying a few wards, setting up what could be next. A Blaze Olive a little bit more powerful now. Grig feeling better about his power and that they can zero somebody out here.
Yeah, and with that pressure that they had in the bot lane, looks like they're trying to get vision control down this bot side, start setting up one of these big multi-man roams. Malzahar can be extremely powerful in those kinds of situations where you just lock someone down under the turret, can't mess around with any stopwatches, can't get their flash out, and it makes the turret dive substantially easier to go off. TLA has a lot of pressure on them now with how much control there seems to be around the mid-jungle.
Clearing out some wards top and bot. Pressure stays in their favor. Minute 40 onto Ocean as Mickey looks to get his first roam on. He'll find the Pixel Brush pink. It's great. There used to be a brush that everybody walked around. Now people are walking through it.
That was
exciting.
painful back in the day when you saw the walking straight through there, ignoring the ward, continuing on their roam, and it's like, no, they see you every step of the way.
You think to yourself, didn't they hear, didn't they listen, didn't they notice? But next time it's again, same thing. But it's turned, it has changed. We're in 2018, things are looking up.
And it's become much easier now that pink wards are visible. Back in the day, those were invisible.
That's true, you're like, I walked through this and may not see it anyways. Here, this was placed and just taken down. It is a hard life to be a ward on this bot side red for TLA. It looks like they're gonna be placing more from TSM Academy's side as well. They're really gonna be focusing these Drakes. They feel good in the lane, why not get extra resources on top of that? That's just all they're about. Is continuing to bolster what they can use in these fights.
People always talk about how difficult the life of a minion is. You know, just kind of getting killed over and over. A ward's even worse. I mean, you don't even get a chance to fight back. Minions have that moment sometimes where they get that last hit. No such victory for wards.
They like bleed too.
Yeah. Some of the attack animations.
Yep. Terrible.
And then we see once again, Team Liquid Academy gets the vision back in that brush. A very, very
I think we know what the next
contentious
fight
brush.
will be over.
Hey, they're going back to it.
So wait, it's just 90 gold for Grig from that brush alone. He's getting the return on investment there for hunting down all the wards. And again, there it is. They actually have spent quite a bit of time here waiting to get this dragon, but it wasn't lost time. Lanes were being farmed. Nobody was losing anything. They're just kind of patiently playing the game out.
Right, it wasn't like Team Liquid Academy was going for some opposite side map play. You know,
Right.
Hard wasn't up there punishing your GP while you're down here a minute early for the dragon. Both teams were fighting over the same objective.
But do they punish now? 3v3 in the bot lane. Grig just on the backside of Hard. Cosmic Radiance goes down. Shady with a bit of the focus here as Mr. Raleigh is able to get out. Oh, here's Viper. Gets on the minion that was down the line, and they're able to wipe down Raleigh's. There's the stopwatch from Grig. He's going to get popped in just a second. Assure you. Picks up a kill for himself. What a TP in.
Really nice play out of Team Liquid Academy there, reading that TSM wanted to go bottom after that dragon take. Hard is already in position, cuts off Grig from getting in, and we talk about how powerful that Cosmic Radiance is in an all-in situation. Joey gets that one off at a pretty critical time, allowing Team Liquid Academy to start winning that fight, and then Viper teleports in. really cementing the victory in the bot lane.
Things were so good. And TS, kind of like TSM, we were saying they're happy with what they're getting, and they said, you know what, we got Dragon. Now we can actually push bot, and TLA was ready.
And you can see that already Grig is still not in range as this fight has already kicked off. Cosmic Radius comes in, teleport on the minion that was pushed up, able to come in behind. Mr. Rawless has already blown a lot of his escapes to stay alive at that point. Makes it very easy for Viper to get involved here. Unfortunately, doesn't grab any of the kills, but they do lead with the solo gold from the turret, so it feels not too bad. And if you're GP all of a sudden, you're like, what happened? My lane opponent got huge out of nowhere.
Exactly. It's a little bit more for Riven as well when you get that. Like, GP gets the 2 assists earlier from Fire and Cannon Barrage. Riven gets 2, and you're like, oh, well, there goes everything now. That happened.
Yeah, the 650 solo gold on the turret doesn't feel too good either. But overall, I mean, GP's still up 10 CS as well as the bonus gold generation. Can't be too upset about that. But Team Liquid Academy does find, I believe it was the first turret of the game that got traded out up on the top side.
Yep, they're able to swap it now. We'll see a bit of a match here from Shoryu as they stop Mickey from hacking. Good use of the Spooky Ghost. Almost every time it's up here, Blaze Olive is kind of giving vision or obviously saving himself.
It's a very interesting development that comes into the mid lane with champions who want some kind of setup. And it's great for, oh, hold on.
Ooh! Not much more to say on that one.
That's why a lot of people were interested in the Blaze Olive. Mickey goes in, doesn't find the Shurima shuffle. Blaze Olive shows the less mechanical punish of pressing R on the opponent.
Oh, Shoryu says, let's do this. Flashes forward, the Bastion on in the dazzle. And they catch a Blaze Olive off guard. Grig here, rinse and repeat. I'm just being a little late, but he doesn't get the same result as last time and walks away without a kill.
Turrets are dropping, game's getting a little bit crazy here. Mickey goes for a solo Q play of just trying to kill the enemy mid laner, gets punished for it. A Blaze Olive feeling good after getting that kill, stays a little bit too long in the lane and gets punished by Team Liquid Academy's bot lane.
That's one way. You're like, nobody's rotating. It's too much of a muddle right now. And bam. This is 0 for 3 maybe? One was a stopwatch, so you can't blame him on that one. But a Blaze Olive has been looking for those.
And it's tough for Mickey because you saw Tarek was kind of on the side in the river. He felt like he had a lot of backup, but just whiffed it. Nice flash by Blaze Olive. Now with no flash, though, very susceptible to getting ganked. Shoryu flashes forward with the Tarek W on him, which extends that stun range, allowing them to CC him up and get that kill.
He was even backing up. He's like, I don't like this. Still, that's when people say, like, he flashed on me. Yeah, well, be ready for flash range.
Yeah, you
that's
just
still
use
a
your
thing.
flash. They communicated that, so now you know you're a little bit more vulnerable.
Still a thing. 5-4, 21 minutes in as we're starting to get a little more action on the table. And, Blaze Olive with having a pretty rough early game. Kept himself right in line with Mickey. A little bit of help from Grig there. And top lane Brandini has been doing well to stave off Viper. He just had a good teleport play. A Blaze Olive now getting a lot of that love, but three's a crowd now coming in for TSM Academy. The teleports will start as well as Brandini gets there. That's hard down. That's Mickey down as TSM Academy happily pick up 2 kills.
Really well played there by TSM Academy, instantly reacting to the pressure that was coming in from TLA. They try to hop onto a Blaze Olive. He locks one down, GPL'd on top of all of them as well. The Shurima Shuffle trying to zone out the rest of TSM from getting in there, but not quite able to do so. Grig finds his way in. We'll take another look at this. They know that they're hovering up around there. They've been on the wards, and a Blaze Olive knows that he has backup. You see Shady coming in trying to help, Grig coming in as well. We even have the TP finishing by Brandini. Viper shows up, but it's already too late.
I love that. I think Blaze Olive knew he was going down in that situation. He's like, here we go, guys. I'm going to be first. Hopefully the spell shield lasts. Now TSM Academy on Baron. 22 minutes in.
It was pretty early. They don't quite have the damage to take it. TLA has collapsed.
Slows down, or throws down the ultimate, I should say. Stopwatch as well. Great focus here to stop the Baron damage. Shoryu throws Grig out of the pit so he can't get back in right away. Glacial Prison misses. And it's not going to be good coming in from hard. He tries to get the kill as the double comes in on the bot side near Baron. Everybody's just tanking the damage right now. And it looks like they will finally lose hard. What a spread out fight, but beautiful job by TSM Academy to say, stop Baron, let's focus members.
Another 4 for 1, I believe, here for Team Liquid Academy. A very, very scary force by TSM there because Grig got super low.
Yeah.
Hard was chasing him down. Could have potentially finished him off, and the Baron was sitting at around 1,500. Luckily, Grig stays alive. The rest of TSM pulls off the Baron, doesn't actually finish it, and they focus down the enemy jungler. And a bit of a misplay here by Viper. He's actually going to get the Tarek ultimate, I think, at the exact same time he presses his stopwatch, so he is invulnerable while he's invulnerable. Unable to actually input any commands there. Might have gone down. It was very close timing. And as a result, he just pops as soon as that Taric ultimate wears off. Here's Grig, barely getting the jump away from Hard's last hit. Baron starts regenning, causes a reset of the situation, but a lot more kills to go in TSM's favor.
Ooh. Last night in the offline game, definitely a lot of kind of Baron turns that we saw from teams, and looks like TSM's able to push TLA into a situation they weren't very comfortable with. 10-7 now, pushing their lead a little bit more. It was about a 2K lead. They've stretched it to 5,000.
And I gotta feel bad for Blaze Olive here. You look at his scoreline, 3-5 and 6. You think this kid's probably feeding his brains out, but he's just been the complete focus of Team Liquid Academy's game plan. And for the most part, he's trading back 1 for 1. So, you know, despite what the scoreline might indicate, I think Blaze Olive has had a pretty good game here.
Definitely an impact player, despite what that is showing. 1,000 gold to spend for her as well. Mr. Raleigh. They don't get into a next fight here. They could have a bit more power if they do go and back. Viper throws down the wind slash. That will make Brandini back as they go and keep themselves safe on the rest, or the other side of the map, I should say. Mickey just making sure they have that vision up towards Baron, but it is a dangerous spot right now for Team Liquid Academy.
TSM has mostly grab control.
Hard right over the wall. They're going to be taking down Grig immediately. What a snap judgment play coming from Team Liquid Academy to throw TSM off their feet.
And I was just about to say how TSM was grabbing control of this game now, starting to get vision control on the top side of the map, but if you're not careful at any moment, the enemy team pulls the trigger just because you're a slight half step out of sync with the rest of your team.
There's no 50-50 now. It's just going to be a bit of damage. The long fight kind of plays out now in favor of TLA. You have soldiers all around trying to do damage. Focus is bad for Shoryu. He goes to the back of the pit. It's going to be a few going down as they lose Joey immediately. Raleigh's false. It's now 1 for 1 on both sides. That's going to be smited down by Hard, and TLA come up with the Baron, but who can make it out? It looks like it's going to be TSM Academy going down as TLA comes up big.
Welcome to Academy League, everybody. There you see the craziness that can happen. TLA is tunneled on the Baron. Yes, they have a 4v5, and the smite is not available for TSM, but you still have to be worried about everything else. Shoryu gets chunked out super hard there, has to tunnel on finishing the Baron. Hard has to run out of the Baron pit and take the blast cone back in to get the smite because he was also dropping it very low. Does finish off the smite.
Not the worst.
They get the Baron.
Let's do it
get
again.
A couple kills. Yeah, taking a look at this one. You see they start getting chunked out. Nice Ezreal ult. They get everyone very low. Vipers has to turn off. Mickey's out of the pit. No damage on there. Shoryu's super low.
How?
Jumps to the backside. They suppress the jungler there. You see Hard has to run away to not die, and then blast cone back in to get the smite. Otherwise, he would have died. Very heads-up play there by Hard. And now Mickey, who had not been in the pit the entire time, just hacking away at everyone with the Sand Soldiers, finally is able to punish everyone who had tunneled on the Baron.
Ooh. I was just saying the extended fights are fine for soldiers. They're great for Tank or Viper to keep shielding and running around, and Mickey with quite a bit of damage in that one. But what kind of microing in and out with 100 HP for TLA to keep themselves alive? It definitely made TSM take a few too many steps they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give a credit to them for kind of min-maxing that fight. Shoryu jumping to the back of the pit just to stay alive.
Ooh, Hard. Oh, Viper comes in with a flash. Wind slash just missing on the back heels of Grig. And now Raleigh is forced out of this one. It's one after the other as Team Liquid Academy pulls the trigger for themselves. TSM just came up with a pretty big play. But now it's TLA coming up after that Baron, and now some more.
Yep, gonna find the pickoff onto a Blaze Olive who was wrapping around the side there. Good pickoff by Mickey, and now that's 3 dead. Baron buff on, pushing up the mid lane here, 27.5 minutes into the game.
Where did that 5,000 gold lead go for TSM Academy?
Yeah, it's suddenly becomes
Swept under the rug.
Hey, well, you give up, you know, 10, 15 kills, you lose a Baron, you lose some turrets, those tend to evaporate.
Very true, but this is the team that Team Liquid Academy has as well. They can either fight, or they can kind of have Viper push these waves that Brandini would be able to push, and they're saying, let's pull the trigger.
Exactly, and Mickey has been fantastic despite what I would say is potentially some over-aggression in the early game. Continues to be aggressive, and they find these pickoffs in the jungle. TSM getting flanked here by Viper, finds a great angle, keeps people locked up while also dropping a ton of damage. Leads to the first kill there onto the support and Shady. Brandini's looking to trade some damage back. He gets isolated on the top side, and they think that they have Viper caught out here as a Blaze joins in, but Mickey was with him the whole time. Jump onto a Blaze, jump onto Brandini, grab those 2 next kills. Ooh. Go back to mid lane, take that inhib.
That situation's tough to see as well for TSM Academy because you're like, oh, one guy made it out. They used all the CC. Then they still have enough for number 2. He's got a flash out. And they still have enough for the tanky number 3 to finally take him down.
And this is one of the things that you kind of struggle with as a younger team. You know, a lot of these guys, well, they have been in the LCS for a long time. They don't quite have as much experiences.
And what are you considering?
Right, exactly. And playing from behind can be difficult. You just lost that Baron buff. You're losing vision control, and you get caught out in your own jungle. Whereas, you know, a lot of experienced teams know to stay more under their turrets, make sure that they, you know, you're going to lose some objectives versus a Baron buff enemy, but don't give up the kills. And it's something that you see there, TSM Academy struggling to execute on.
Mickey looking to get over the wall. Quick bastion from Joey would keep himself alive. Joey now down 2. Unfortunately, everybody falls, it seems, within an entire season. 15-2 here on the scoreboard as Viper now sticking to that split push, and it looks like they're going to try to work that 1-4.
Very impressive out of Viper to not win the early game but maintain relevance as a Ribbon. That's one of the big things you have to worry about is when things don't go right. Can you continue to play this champion? Showing he understands his one trick. Pretty interesting build path as well. People have cut out the Tiamat that have become so critical as a part of Riven combos and all the animation canceling that can come with it. It's no longer actually used at all really amongst top Riven players.
Particular choice or reason?
Just item efficiency. I think that you can get better stats with other things. Often you relied on it to help with your combos as well as sustain you because the lifesteal that you got from Ravenous Hydra. Now you see people incorporating more deaths and dances. Kind of helps you already with that. Cooldown reduction factoring in as well, something that was lacking on Tiamat. So just as the meta shifted, items became more and more powerful. They have shied away more from that item.
Death Dance is one of those items that is like a Riven. I mean, you dance around death the entire time, taking a little bit less damage over, not less, but that damage over the initial burst. Getting out, there's an early Cosmic Radiance. We'll see if TSM Academy wants this. Glacial Fisher just missing, did not think that would take down a Blaze Olive, and he gets thwarted right through the entire team.
Not what you want to see. 4v5 basically as Viper was up in the top side there. Brindini was stuck more in the mid lane. That does not work out well. And they don't have much wave clear here on TSM Academy, and it's going to be very difficult to force TLA out of this situation.
We talked about what would happen once they could get up the turrets, having Mickey throw those soldiers forward. Viper on another side, and Shoryu just absolutely demolishing these turrets with the rest of the squad behind him. See, Bastion is on him, as well as that Knight's Vow to keep him protected. This is going to be the inhibitor turret going down along with Shady. They leave the inhibitor turret. They say, let's pick up the kills. And there's another one coming through. Great inhibitor takedown by Viper on the other side of the map as they're keeping a lot of things on their plate as Team Liquid Academy multitask their way inside TSMA's base.
Blaze Olive respawns, tries to finish off Mickey. Does get the final kill, and with that, might be a little hard for TLA to actually end the game here. They're getting forced out base, but it is triple inhibs down.
There's Demolish on the turret, almost ticked up. That'll refresh down. They're going to use that fully to start things off. 2 dead on each side. They still have to be careful. The Viper can pressure a little bit with that Guardian Angel. Whoa, Raleigh easily get that kill, but he would lose his life for it.
I guess it will not be 3 inhibitors
Yeah,
down. Actually, they're going to be forced out of there. And with that, the base is in shambles, but still alive, not getting those double super creeps. And we'll take another look at that dive. That worked out so well for TLA. You see a nice engage, getting that stun there by Hard. It is on the support, but at this point you're just looking for cleanup kills that allows them to continue snowballing now that that frontliner's down. They pick up Grig as well. Have to be a little careful as you see Mr. Raleigh doing a ton of damage here. A little deep by Mickey, right as a Blaze Olive respawn. So with that kind of move speed from coming back alive, able to get in range, finish him off. And once the Fed Azir is down, kind of hard to end the game.
You gotta watch out after that point. Get a little too close to the fountain, and TLA gets themselves back into a nice spot to push once again. Really liking, it's been around for a long time, but Hard and Joey on the Tarek and Sejuani, you get the Arctic Assault in, you're guaranteed the dazzle, and they just, even the tankiest people on team TSM Academy, there we go, haven't been able to avoid it.
And it's great because it does free up Viper to take, you know, that more aggressive pick. You have your tankiness already solved kind of with the jungle support position. So it works very well together as a team comp. Final point about the Riven thing, doesn't actually have the death stance here, just noticed, but a lot more lethality is the other thing that they go for.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Just the amount of flat damage you can get from that is seen as superior to the kind of animation resets that you can get.
My eyes deceive me from this distance.
I was confused as well. I had to turn around, look at the bigger version of the game to be like, wait a minute, he doesn't even have it, does he?
Oh yeah, him and Draki. Almost 20 kills now for TLA. We're starting to get a good mass of those on the scoreboard. 14 for TSM Academy. They want 5 more here as Team Liquid enters into the base, and they start with the inhibitors.
Very hard to defend for TSM Academy. No turrets, no inhibitor turrets left alive at least, so nothing to really stop these guys from running into your base and taking these down. So difficult to come back from this position here. They grab the mid one, they rotate around the safe way outside, looking like they want to grab that bot inhibitor now as well.
The idea of fighting in the base is so weird if you actually think about it. You would feel safer there, but your opponent actually gets more room to run around rather than being in a lane side to side. You don't have the initiation. You can't find a way in. The AD carry gets to the back really fast. Team Liquid Academy doing that quite well here as they are in and out. Spell immune on the Glacial Prison. They're gonna like that. Gets the ultimate back on, and they get hard out. He goes down. No! Cosmic Radiance comes down first, and they're able to stay alive, but very disjointed now on the side of Team Liquid Academy as TSM Academy is staving off this fight. 1 for 1 to start things off.
Bit of a flubbed engage there. Hard does land the ultimate, but like you said, it's on the spell shield, and there was no backline threat, so they're basically able to absorb that trade back onto Hard. He's forced out of the fight right away. Does have the Warmogs taking up. You see how quickly Sejuani's heal with that item. Back up to full, but it is a 4v4, and he did lose that his ear.
I'm gonna say, Shady, no real reason to block anything on the front line right now. But they're looking to get that concussive blows. Winter's Bite, what a cooldown for a Blaze Olive. Another ultimate coming in. They're gonna have to wait on that. You can already see how fast it's cooling down on the right side of the screen there. 3/4 to go.
Only 1 kill picked up for TSM Academy. They did lose both Nexus turrets during that defense of the 3rd inhib. A good, strong defense, but still have a lot of work to go to find their way all the way back into that game. A bit of a misstep there by Team Liquid Academy. Getting too far forward with their tanks. Viper wasn't involved in the fight, providing any real threat, and they were able to kite that one out. TSM Academy does have Mr. Rales now really coming online. Does have 3 items completed, 4 items. And he was hitting pretty hard in that team fight. It would have been nicer if TSM could have won it a little harder to hopefully push back a little further on the map, but you see them now trying to get control of their jungle as Baron is back on the map.
So much crowd control. They're worried about the Radiance, waiting for, Cosmic Radiance and the Dazzle, I meant to say. It's hard for TSM Academy to kind of choose that in for the fight.
Yeah, you see how low Hard gets, and if you're a Kha'Zix player, you're like, yeah, I want to reset through the whole fight, but you know that Cosmic Radiance is coming down.
It's not that easy, or easier said than done, I should say. But right now, Team Liquid Academy poised and set up as they wait for Joey to trot down the lane. It looks like they'll keep Viper on that bottom side as Baron is up right now, but no real reason to give TSM Academy that way back into the game.
Yeah, we see them focus much more around this mid lane. A little surprising to see that. They have the
inhibitor's down.
Yeah, inhibitor's down, so I don't know if they're trying to push this all the way into the Nexus, try and end the game, just sieging the Nexus. They do have the turret of Azir set up behind them, conquering that area of the map, but I think they're going to try and rotate down to Viper here, just pushing that wave in. Get the bot.
Yeah. As you said, with the Nexus turrets down, they just feel kind of comfortable doing it a little unorthodox and saying, we'll create a wall of people, help Viper, but it's not actually working. They're kind of stalemating themselves here on the outside of the base. Top wave is slowly pushing out when they have an inhibitor they can be fighting over and pressuring TSM Academy there.
Yeah, you think this is a situation where you'd rather see TLA set up around Baron, leave Viper down the bot lane with that teleport, get that split push going, threaten that inhibitor by himself while the rest of the team gets the objective. Looks like they figured it out. Starting to go to that setup.
Oh, yeah.
It does work pretty well, huh?
That worm's alive.
It's a lot harder to stop a split pusher when the other 5 aren't grouped up in the mid lane.
A lot of breadcrumb wards throughout the jungle. They can trail whatever is coming in behind them, and now Viper becomes much stronger in that side lane to do whatever he wants. Solo, and the rest of the team will be back. TSM Academy has to be ready here. They're going to get what they can before they're confined to their base again.
Yep, 38 minutes in the game, you take Baron extremely quickly. With Nazir and Tristana, they melt that one down before TSM has any chance to get out of their own base. TSM grabbing what little gold is presented to them before they make what is their 3rd last stand.
The big booms coming in from the AD carries now from the bot lane. 17 to 18. Finally, 18's pretty much around. Greg just a few levels down, but has that 3rd level of his ultimate. Himself nice and beefed up in fights. Coming up on 40 minutes. That 20 kill mark was hit by TLA. I'm looking to get a few more here. Possibly TSM trying to answer back. Quickly cleansed out of that, gets himself to safety with his Mercurial Scimitar, and it looks like they'll be ready again for the fight.
Yeah, but not too bad for TSM Academy there. They get the flashes out of Joey and Shoryu. Do lose some ultimates for doing it. Blaze Olive also loses his flash, but it does make it much more dangerous for TLA to push up here.
Oh. Is it? Didn't throw down the ultimate just yet. Gets a key burst and a bit of extra damage coming in from Viper as he lets his minions push in. Squeezes over to mid lane to make sure the team can have help from him. Shady still trying to stay on the front line, finding any initiation, but now there's GAs. There's Quicksilver sashes coming in through items, and it's hard to find that in. Shady put the shield up and does what he can to stop his damage.
Yeah, Mickey was splitting up in the top lane there. He actually finished off the top inhibitor himself while the rest of TLA was focused down the bot lane. They get that one as well. Looking like for the slow grind out here as there's all 3 inhibitors down there.
They're very slow. I think the minions are doing more damage to the Nexus that's been done by any of the champions so far. All the way pushed up. You saw TSM Academy trying to ping back and say they are on our Nexus. Cosmic Radiance comes down as Viper is the first one in, and he's resurrecting from the Guardian Angel. Shady falls, and that's going to be a Blaze Olive as well going down. The Nexus in the eyes of Team Liquid Academy, and they will go 2-0 to start off their Academy League.
Great first week for Team Liquid Academy there, taking down what a lot of people think to be a very strong Academy team in TSM. A lot of big names there, and they did it in a pretty convincing fashion. Won the early game a little bit, started losing control in the mid game before coming back at the very end there.
A lot of the timing there we saw from both teams pretty back and forth in the early game. Once it said Team Liquid Academy was kind of able to take the lead. They knew what they wanted to do, but as we've seen a lot, couldn't end it right away.
Yeah, and there was a understandable problem that they're running into there where the enemy team does have some threats and they are playing it pretty well. And that's kind of what you expect to see in the Academy team. Struggles closing out the game in the final portions where it takes a lot of synergy. That's kind of what destroyed TSM there in the end, was that they were unable to properly control vision around the Baron buff.
And seeing Baron be that kind of objective that was the impact thing for TSM, what do you kind of see as the option they could have done? Where could they have gone with how that gold mounting on the GP, the Ezreal, and then pushing fights was hard against the Azir controlling everything?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to look to that like one mistake where Grig got caught out, and it feels bad to pin a whole loss on a single mistake, but that was kind of what was the catalyst for that long series of plays around Baron that really turned them around that game from what you said, 5K gold lead to 3K gold lead in Team Liquid's favor.
Right, and let's actually see how they got their gold lead on the side of TSM Academy, taking lead off a 4-for-1 Baron. This was 22.5 in. So this is when we said, oh, action's hitting the board, who's going to get it?
Yeah, and this is where you see after Grig got picked off, he's still respawning. Mickey's outside the fight, pushing in. He's focusing down there, pushes more people into the pit. There's all this fight all over the place, but it does leave Mr. Rallis isolated. They finish him off, and they don't actually stop the Baron. Like we already highlighted, Hart has that excellent blast cone to get back into the pit to secure the smite. Mickey and Viper are the two people that finish that fight off, and all three carries end up living through that fight, as even Shoryu didn't go down despite how low he got as well. All those guys in the back of the pit playing that super well.
And then, obviously, the answer, go back to Baron. Why not? We'll try it again. Mistake. Team Liquid Academy answer with a 4-2 Baron. A fight 3 minutes later. So they didn't even wait. They said, let's go back in. We don't need summoners.
Yeah, it's very risky here. You see, this is where Viper kind of does not actually execute on this. Ends up going down with his stopwatch there right as he kind of goes invulnerable. Kind of CCs himself, dies right away to Mr. Rallis. And then after that, it's pretty easy for the rest of TSM to clean up. They're kind of funneling in one by one. Hard shows up late, does start getting some cleanup kills, but can't actually find the last hit onto Grig. Barely able to stay alive. The rest of TSM shows up to protect him. Mickey's still alive, so they can't go back to the Baron, but they did pick up a number of kills off the back of that.
It was those fights kind of make you think what is going to continue happening in this game, because it looked bad for Blaze Olive, and then Grig helped him in the early game, and then they were kind of able to pull it back for Team Liquid Academy. And speaking of Grig as well, we kind of said don't want to pin it all on him, and not. He was pushed down all the way to Kha'Zix in the jungle, and TSM kind of allowed that to happen. He had a rough day yesterday and still performed on that Kazakhs a bit, just wasn't able to get through the beef in the late game.
Yeah, he had a pretty good early game, all things considered. Was able to find some kills with all that mid lane action that was going on. Covered top side when there was pressure up there. So I think, you know, Grig had a pretty good performance overall, but just had that one critical mistake.
Right. That's all it is. It's got to look always. So we're going into the final fight now, looking at what happened here. TSM, Team Liquid, was continuously pushing that bot lane, but were flustered in the beginning. They said a little mid, a little bot, and then finally got themselves together.
Yeah, once you have triple inhibs down, no Nexus turrets, you kind of feel free to go in and make a play.
Yeah.
There you say right away, Viper flashing in, instantly starting this fight off and winning it for his team. Lots of GAs getting popped there, but Team Liquid Academy is so far ahead at that point. You just need to find a fight because there's no longer any turrets backing up the side of TSM.
All right, Mark, so you play against Team Liquid Academy. You're saying we need to do some picks and bans. What do you kind of look at for a team? If you look at Mickey, do you look at the jungle? What do you kind of see as a real powerhouse for these guys?
I mean, Mickey is obviously a force to be reckoned with here. Had a great game 1, great game 2, despite getting a little over aggressive at points. But you've only seen 2 things out of him so far, both very meta in the Rise and the Zir.
Right.
So how many resources are you really willing to throw at this guy, and is he even going to impact his performance? Because, you know, we've seen some players like Bjergsen in the NALCS, you throw 6 bans at him, he goes on his 7th champion and destroys you. Could be a similar story with Mickey.
All right, we will have to see. We are headed for a break right now, but when we come back, the Academy squads of 100 Thieves and Optic face off. Does he buy enough time for himself? A few more attacks. First blood coming in for Mickey. And he goes down once he gets back to lane. Grig, however, able to come back into lane once again. The double kill, however, goes to a Blaze Olive. He tries to get the kill as the double comes in on the bot side near Baron. Everybody's just tanking the damage right now. And it looks like they will finally lose hard. Raleigh's false, and it's now 1-for-1 on both sides. That's going to be smited down by Hard. And TLA come up with the Baron, but who can make it out? It looks like it's going to be TSM Academy going down. They leave the inhibitor turret. They say, let's pick up the kills. And there's another one coming through. Great inhibitor takedown by Viper on the other side of the map as they're keeping a lot of things on their plate. Cosmic Radiance comes down as Viper is the first one in, and he's resurrecting from the Guardian Angel. Shady falls, and that's going to be a Blaze Olive as well going down. The Nexus in the eyes of Team Liquid Academy.